Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's On at DisneyPlus.com. Today I have got Elliott Ross, who has starred in the brand new Disney Plus original series The Quest, which is available now on Disney Plus. And thank you very much for joining me today. Could you give us a bit of an introduction into what The Quest is all about?
Yeah, so in a nutshell, it's this epic fantasy series where which is produced by the producers of Lord of the Rings and The Amazing Race and Queer Eye. So it's this amazing hybrid of scripted fantasy drama with a reality element and a competition element all in one show. So we have this kind of epic fantasy world on kind of grand scale, and then 8 real people who are teenagers get dropped into the world, and it's their mission is to help us complete our quest. And I'm an actor in the show. All my stuff is scripted like a normal TV show, and then when I interact with the contestants, that's all improvised. So it's like an immersive television experience for them, and for me as well.
And you play Prince Cederic in the series, and I just kind of wanted to ask, what was your character about?
So the character's really a really fun character. There's a big arc. So I think the trajectory was something that I really took I took interest in, obviously, and just really enjoyed kind of diving into. He kind of starts at the beginning of the series as this kind of combative, aggressive, angry boy, arrogant, doesn't view others as equals, and just wants to fight everyone. And ultimately he is grieving the loss of his father, but he also is he's vying for the throne, and he's got these expectations for himself. And I think through a series of humbling failures throughout the series, he learns how to be less of a jerk, basically, and learns collaboration, and ultimately becomes a better man. So for me, it was like a journey of masculinity where it's like a boy learning how to be a man, and I really enjoyed that.
You said like you had to improvise a lot. So how did that kind of all work about, like with like all the actors and stuff? Were the contestants, were they kind of protected from it being filmed, or were they aware that they had to stop and start for filming, etc.?
It was pretty authentic, the reality elements. There were lots of cameras.
Yeah.
They knew they were being filmed. There were cameras everywhere. But I think the world was so, like, the attention to detail was so extreme, it was so thorough, that it was very easy to get lost in it. And and credit to the contestants, they just bought into it 100%. There weren't points where they were kind of questioning that we were actors or anything. They were just there, and so the reactions you see are real, and they're in real time. And equally, the relationships that you see forming between the contestants and with the actors, that was all happening over real time as well, because they never met us as real people. We only ever met on set when we were in character. Those guys never met me as myself, even after shooting finished. And I think that was a really cool thing about the shoot. It was quite experimental, and it felt like we were trying something.
Yeah, because they definitely they seem to be getting quite emotional, especially in the later episodes when they when they were sending each other off for tasks and stuff. And it was that kind of thing, like, oh, how much are they aware, kind of thing. It was quite interesting watching it.
Yeah. It was an intense, full-on experience, and it was emotional for them, and it was, makes for great TV, doesn't it?
And I'm gonna ask, what was like the biggest challenge to working on this series?
I guess the obvious thing for me is the improvisational element. That was challenging, but I guess it just forced me to do my work. We all did our work. We knew our characters inside out, and we knew how to deal with situations as they arose, and we kind of knew how to respond in character, which was a really fun exercise as an actor in the end. So I guess that was challenging, and it was kind of, it's a different kind of format for a show, isn't it? Because it was scripted and improvised at the same time, and switching between styles sometimes was good, but we got used to it. I mean, ultimately, man, I was cast in the big fantasy series playing a prince, and I was living a dream, and I guess no one prepares you for how that's going to feel. And I guess, that was overwhelming at times, and I felt a bit of pressure going into it, and I wanted it, I wanted to do a good job. So, that was challenging as well.
Yeah, and I've obviously got to ask, because it obviously was filmed during the pandemic. Now, was it originally supposed to be filmed in Italy, and then they ended up moving it out to sort of the Napa Valley?
Yeah, it was originally, well, it was meant to be filmed in Austria, and then it got moved to Napa Valley, which is fine with me.
Because it definitely looked nice with the castle, and it just looks stunning in that location.
Yeah, it was amazing, and I booked the job when I was in London. Everyone in London last year, from January to March, they were locked down in London, and London's notoriously grey that time of year, so the timing was fantastic for me to kind of get out of the UK and just be in the sunshine, running around dressed like a prince. And it was fun.
Especially, last year was one of those years. So what? Obviously, so like the improvisation was different, but what other things were different working on this series? With like working for Disney, etc.
Could you be a bit more specific?
Yeah, I was just going to say, because have you had to do as much improv in like previous series that you've worked on, or is it all just strictly scripted?
Yeah, I've done kind of more experimental kind of short films where it's not scripted. I did one really cool short film with a close friend of mine, and he was kind of trying to emulate Mike Leigh, and we did lots of kind of hot seating and character development work, and then just kind of ran with it and made a really cool short film. So I've done it on screen before. I've improvised in the theatre before. I've done a handful of improvised theatre, and I've done immersive theatre a couple of times where the audience is in your world and you take them through your world. So I guess I had a small amount of experience in kind of all departments, but no, this I've never been in a TV series that is part improvised. So that was a new challenge.
And I got to ask, obviously, I don't want to get into spoilers and stuff, but in that final few scenes, it definitely ends on a bit of a cliffhanger. Would you like to return for a second season?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd love there to be a second season. Of course, those decisions are out of my hands, I'm afraid. And I have absolutely no information. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes there.
Yeah, and it's going to be really interesting to see how people react to it. Because obviously now it's out and everyone can watch it. How sort of are you keeping an eye on like social media, or are you trying to stay away from feedback?
Well, I think I'm trying to stay away from feedback. I think I've learned in my career, feedback on the work isn't always helpful for the people involved. All I can do is do my job. I do my work, and I do it the best I can, and then I hopefully move on to the next thing. But I am going to keep an eye on social media. I want to kind of use my platform, and I want to keep people in the loop with what I'm doing, and I want to follow people that I am interested in and who I think are talented or interesting. So I think there's going to be a balance there, and I just think social media can be what you want it to be, and hopefully I'll keep myself protected from the stuff I don't want to engage in.
Yeah, it's pretty difficult with all of that. And so, final question, really, and this one's completely left field. What has been your favorite Disney Plus original other than The Quest so far?
The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I loved it. It was so good, man. It was just like joyous. I watched it. I was staying with a couple of friends in Texas, a couple of really close friends of mine, and we binge watched it in the month leading up to The Quest.
Yeah.
We watched both series back to back, and it was just so much fun. It's kind of it was nostalgic for my, you know, childhood, and also I feel very warmly about that time in general. So yeah, that one.
Yes, that easy one. As you can see, I'm a bit of a Mandalorian fan as well.
Oh really? Yeah.
But
Behind you, I love that.
there's plenty of Grogu's.
And you got the Mandalorian helmet. That's cool.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Dude, you got two.
Yeah, I got Boba Fett over here and Mando there. So yeah. But I just want to say thank you so much for your taking some time out to speak to me about the quest. That was fantastic. I hope the series goes really well, and thank you very much.
Thanks, man. It was great to talk.
Thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure you go check us out over at whatsondisneyplus.com. Like, follow, and subscribe. Also, a huge thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon and also on our YouTube channel memberships. And I shall see you guys in another video. Laters.